Good morning, everyone, and a happy Sunday. My name is Nick Marro here with Occupy Fantasy. You can find me on Twitter at Nick Marro DFS, and I'm here to help you break down tonight's 7 game slates for NBA DFS on both DraftKings and FanDuel. If you're not already a member, become a member at Occupy Fantasy today for access to our ownership projections, this Occupy model you see here, lineup builder, and other tools, in addition to a private Discord channel where you'll be able to speak to our experts one on one in helping build your DFS lineups and helping you improve your contest selection. Yeah, every day prior to lock, we have about a half hour period as well where there's a voice channel where you could ask your questions directly. Um, and yeah, we've had a lot of success so far this season. So please come on and join us. If you do join at me in the channel, be sure to say hello. Links are all in the description. And if you haven't already, please also click like and subscribe on this video. It helps us climb those YouTube algorithms so we could get you more of this free content. So yeah, it's obviously a Sunday, so football comes first for many, and I totally get that. But yeah, we do have a nice 7 game NBA slate here, and as people are tilting their NFL lineups, maybe they'll come over and play some NBA, so the field could be a bit softer than usual. But yeah, I actually really like this slate. It looks at 6 p.m. Eastern, which is an hour earlier than standard, so be sure to keep an eye on that. I'm going to go through as quickly as possible. Talking through injuries for each game. There are a lot to discuss. Obviously, in NBA DFS, injuries create opportunity. The best plays on the slate are usually the result of better players being ruled out. So, we do have our own injury report on the Occupy website. You can kind of see just at a high level a lot of the guys who are out today. And yeah, let's just take a quick look from here. I mean, we got John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Cade Cunningham, LaMelo Ball, Jamal Murray, Desmond Bain, Tyler Hero, Kevin Porter. I feel like I'm reading off an all-star team. We got Jokic, Jimmy Butler, and then yeah, going down, even Kevin Love just had a stress fracture come out. Um, Chris Paul, I think, still going to be out. I think he's on the slate, but yeah, I am. No, Phoenix isn't on the slate, so we don't have to worry about Chris Paul today. But regardless, I mean, we're looking at a ton of injuries. So yeah, let's go game by game quickly. Starting with Charlotte at Washington. So we get the Charlotte Hornets heading into Washington as 5.5 point underdogs. Let's take a quick look at the total here. Yeah, 220.5 point total, not bad at all. But LaMelo Ball's out again. He hurt his leg tripping over a fan, as many of you know. Dennis Smith Jr. is questionable. So Terry Rozier is going to be running this offense again. I do think he's a solid play, but they did also just get Gordon Hayward back. That could cut into Rozier's usage. So Rozier, as good as he is, he's going to be more volatile than maybe he would have been with the other 2 guards out earlier in the season. You can kind of see this across a small sample last 2 games. I mean, this game went to overtime where he had 40 fantasy points. It took a lot for him to get there. So yeah, just keep an eye on that starting lineup. I imagine we're going to see Oubre, Hayward, um, Washington, Plumlee, Rozier. They're all decent plays here. Really nothing I'm forcing, but I do not mind Rozier at all at that 8,100 price tag on DraftKings, and 77 on FanDuel. 7,700 is definitely even better. So not a bad spot. Washington's defense hasn't been great. Then over on the Washington side, it looks like Monte Morris is questionable. Delon Wright's still out. Goodwin's questionable. So there is they are lacking some depth in the backcourt. I do think Bradley Beal's going to look really solid here again. Kind of similar to Rozier, a little bit volatile this season. His usage had been down a bit with Morris in the lineup. So if Morris is out, maybe we do get a bit of a bump for him there. I don't mind Porzingis at all. Charlotte's defense against bigs has not been good for the past few seasons. We've seen KP go for over 50 fantasy points on more than one occasion already this season. So really nothing too crazy here. I mean, I do like Rozier better if Smith is out. I do like Beal a bit better if Morris is out, but my favorite play in this game is probably Porzingis. Then clicking over quickly to the Occupy model, just seeing if any Charlotte or Washington guys are popping towards the top for value. I'm not seeing any right now. That doesn't really surprise me. So we can move into the next game here. We have Detroit at Sacramento. And if you see me looking over onto another screen, guys, it's because they have 2 monitors open. There's just a lot of information to process, so it makes it easier on me. Um, but yeah, we got the Pistons heading into Sacramento. Kings are 9.5 point favorites, and the game total here is 233 points. So that's pretty high, honestly. That's going to be a really strong game environment. And let's see, I'm scrolling through an injury report. Um, we've got Sadiq Bey out, Cade Cunningham's still out, who I mentioned. Isaiah Stewart's out. Um, really nothing on the King side except for Malik Monk. So I think we got to look at the Pistons first here. Um, yeah, Jaden Ivey, he's pretty inconsistent. He's scoring dependent, but he's a very high ceiling. I really like Bogdanovich on both sites today. I imagine he is priced reasonably on FanDuel as well. Yeah, 5,800. That's more than reasonable. I think people have been hesitant to play him because they kind of remember him when he was with the Jazz. But you got to remember he was splitting usage with guys like Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert. Even when this team is healthy, his usage has been higher than it was in Utah. So with Cunningham out and Bay out, I do really, really like Bogdanovich. Um, Ivy probably a higher ceiling, but definitely riskier. So I do like Bogdanovich as a floor play. Killian Hayes here. Yeah, he was super disappointing last season. He's shown flashes. He's coming off one of the best games of his career. He's only 4,800 on DK. I think we're looking at a similar price over on FanDuel, 5,600. He's a better play on DraftKings today for sure. Don't mind him. If we ever see Jalen Duran slide into that starting lineup, I do think he's a talented young big. He just hasn't necessarily been getting the minutes. But really, it's Ivy Bogdanovich here as priorities. Killian Hayes is fine as a value play. I do like Alec Burks in terms of talent. It's just the minutes haven't necessarily been there. We saw him score 35 fantasy points in 24 minutes last time out. If we get word that he might be bumped in terms of minutes or he slides into that starting lineup, I do like him. Marvin Bagley's been starting. Really not someone I'm ever interested in. So if there is a fade in this game, it's probably Bagley for me because I do imagine he gets some ownership. But yeah, really no priorities on Detroit except for Bogdanovich for me. And then I like Ivy in tournaments. I like Hayes as a value play on DraftKings. Over on the King side, no Malik Monk, which isn't major, but it could mean we see Terrence Davis once again slide into that starting lineup. He's had some really solid games, inconsistent, scoring dependent, and with Fox and Sabonis healthy, he doesn't always get the usage he needs. But if you're playing a bunch of lineups, I don't mind Davis at all. Kevin Herter's solid again, another scoring dependent guard. Plenty of those on the slate. But yeah, Fox and Sabonis both priced pretty reasonably. Can't say I'm crazy about the 9,600 for Fox on both sites, but when you look at his game logs, I mean, he does have the ceiling in him. I don't know. It's just at 9,600, you kind of need 50 fantasy points. I feel like we're more likely to get that out of Sabonis, but even so, like if I'm paying 9K for a player on the slate, it's probably not either of these guys in my first lineup, but they are in play. Um, yeah, it looks like Murray's once again questionable here. If he's out, we can look to Harrison Barnes. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, that's really it. Not the best team to stack here, Sacramento. Not that stacking in NBA is really relevant anyway. Moving right along. Okay, so the order's different between the two sites. We'll go Miami, Cleveland next because we do have some big news here. So Butler and Hero are going to be out again. Bam Adebayo is questionable. Kyle Lowry coming off maybe the best game he ever had as a Miami Heat player. This game went to OT. He had 70 fantasy points. Um, yeah, I mean, if Butler and Hero are out, I already like Lowry even at 7,500. If Bam's out as well, he looks great. Max Strus, Caleb Martin, a bit disappointing with only 7 guys available for Miami last time out, but I do like them again here. Same with Gabe Vincent. If he's in, he's listed as questionable. Nikola Jovic, if he starts, great value on both sites. A bit surprised DK didn't price him up more. So let me take a look over on FanDuel. Yeah, 5K for Jovic is more reasonable. On DK, he's tough to get away from. Haywood Highsmith had a really good game. If he slides into that starting lineup and Bam's out, I do think we can look to him. Um, but yeah, I mean, let's take a look at the Occupy model because I imagine we're going to see some of these guys popping towards the top for value. Hmm, not so much on DK. I guess Bam's still in. That's probably why. I mean, if Bam's out, things change quick. But I do like Lowry regardless. I think he's fine in that range. And then on FanDuel, let's see. I can sort by team. Yeah, I mean, if Bam's in, it kind of isn't as appealing of a spot. But I think regardless, we're going to want guys like Gabe Vincent, Kyle Lowry, Caleb Martin. And then over on DK, similar story. Gabe Vincent's too cheap there. Lowry's better on DK. 8K is a little rough if Bam's in. Jovic is better on DK. Highsmith looks fine, both sites. But yeah, I mean, Miami's a really good spot. And Dedmon's been missing lately. If he's back and he starts, that would hurt Nikola Jovic, but it would make Dwayne Dedmon a really solid value play. So Miami is one of the situations today we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on. Um, I don't think it's a very high total. Look over on my other screen here. Yeah, 214.5 point total. It's very low compared to some of the other games. So not the best game environment, but again, I mean, if Bam's out, there's just so much usage to go around. We're already getting extra usage with Butler and Hero out. So yeah, really anyone in that Miami starting lineup is going to be appealing to me, but definitely keep an eye on that Bam news. Kevin Love seems like he's going to be out for a little bit for Cleveland now. We got Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell at the top. Both fine plays. Probably wouldn't use them in the same lineup. I do have a slight preference to Mitchell, but again, there's a lot of good pay up options on this slate. I don't know that either of these two are going to be priorities for me. But yeah, I mean, the question we have to ask ourselves is with Kevin Love out, who's going to benefit most? And I think it is going to be Lamar Stevens. So if Stevens starts, and definitely keep an eye on this, he'd probably be like a borderline core play for me at 3,600. I think we're also going to see more minutes for like a Chetty Osman off the bench, but any game where Stevens has gone over 30 minutes, he's hit value. So keep an eye on that starting lineup for sure. Obviously, we'd prefer him to be in. And if you want to kind of have the GPP pivot ready, it's very risky, but it's probably Chetty Osman. So keep an eye on that starting lineup. They did just get Jared Allen back. So they are pretty healthy outside of that Kevin Love piece. And the thing about Love is it's not like he's playing 30 minutes a night. Um, but yeah, I do really like Stevens. Yeah, I'm not going to Robin Lopez here, but yeah, I think all the starters are going to look good, namely whoever gets the start for Kevin Love. So definitely keep an eye on that piece. Moving into the next game here, it's my Brooklyn Nets against the Memphis Grizzlies. Sounds like we're going to be getting Kyrie back tonight. He did all his chores that Josiah had for him after the stupid comments he made. So if he's back in the lineup, KD is way overpriced. If he's out, you could look to Durant here, but if he's in, I mean, you can maybe, excuse me, look to Kyrie, but I wouldn't be playing Durant at 11.7. I just think, obviously, there's really no meat on the bone for him at that price. 11 flat on FanDuel's a bit more manageable. 8,800 for Kyrie if he starts and we get word he's not limited. That's going to be appealing. We also have Ben Simmons. I know everyone loves to hate him, but he's coming off his best game as a net. 15 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists. Was taking the ball to the rim, which is what we need to see from Simmons when he is ball handling, and he looks good on defense down low. The other big thing for Simmons today is Nicholas Claxton's out. So I don't think it's on the injury report yet. I just saw it before I hopped on stream. So just double check and verify that. But if Claxton is out, and I think he is for personal reasons, that means we're going to see more minutes from Ben Simmons at the 5, which is great. We're getting center minutes from Simmons here, so I do like him a lot. Maybe Markieff Morris gets a bit more run, but really not a player I'd be chasing. I think it's Simmons who's going to benefit the most. So yeah, I know it's not always exciting, but keep an eye on that starting lineup. I think Ben Simmons is definitely viable. We're seeing Yuta Watanabe popping here as value, and I don't mind it. He's very, very scoring dependent, but he actually leads the NBA in 3 point percentage. I think he's over 56% right now, something crazy like that. Not sure he keeps it up, but where he's really cheap on both sides, I do like him. So yeah, the Nets don't look bad here. It's just you gotta have to avoid KD if Kyrie's back. But the other starters are fine. Royce O'Neal, Joe Harris, where he's cheap, really, really scoring dependent. But yeah, it's probably Ben Simmons for me is the priority, and then maybe Kyrie on FanDuel if we get word that he's not going to be limited. So we also have major injury news over on the Memphis side. Desmond Bane's obviously out for a little while. John Morant's still out. Jaren Jackson Jr. also out. So, yeah, this might be your value spot to look. I mean, the thing is, both sides were pretty smart in pricing up Tyus Jones. I think he's in the 5K range everywhere. But obviously, with John Bain out, he becomes extremely appealing. 5,900, I'd still go there. 6,100 for Dylan Brooks would still go there as well. With JJJ out, I think Brandon Clark is going to see a boost. He's going to be in play. Steven Adams against the centerless Nets team. Um, Could work out well. I mean, if Simmons isn't staying under the hoop to defend, then Adams could have a huge game here. But he's volatile just because his minutes have been volatile. But John Conchar looks good. I mean, again, anyone who starts for the Grizzlies, I know it's kind of a lame way to phrase it, but anyone who starts for the Grizzlies is going to be appealing here, especially Dylan Brooks, especially Tyus Jones, especially on DK at only 5,200. Strong game environment. I imagine we're looking at a pretty high total too, just knowing the pace of these two teams. Yeah, 223. Nothing crazy, but it's certainly a spot we could target. So, yeah, keep an eye on these lineups, guys. Obviously, throughout the day, things change. But as it stands right now, Memphis one of the best teams to target. And I do like Ben Simmons on both sides with Claxton out. If he starts at center, I think that'd be ideal. We could see like a Kyrie next to Yuta, next to Harris. No, no, no. Yuta wouldn't make the lineup. But yeah, Kyrie, Harris, KD, O'Neal, Simmons at the five is kind of the starting lineup I'm hoping for. Um, but yeah, moving right along, we're making good pace here. We get the Warriors at the Houston Rockets. Andre Iguodala's out, obviously not a needle mover. The one big piece of news here is on the Houston side. It looks like Kevin Porter Jr. is going to miss another game. Um, Jalen Green was disappointing with Porter out last time, but I'm going right back to the well with him. Very high ceiling when he has the usage. So I do like me some Kevin Porter. We actually saw Eric Gordon go off in a big way. I don't know that you can count on that again, but I mean at 5K and I think even cheaper on DK, he's going to be an appealing GPP option. Just a very high ceiling if his shot is falling. If it's not falling, you're kind of screwed. But at the same time, I do like him here. Um, yeah, 4,300. That's pretty appealing to me. So yeah, I don't mind Houston at all. There is a 10 plus point spread here. Um, I don't know. I think the Rockets could actually cover in this spot, but that's just me. Really, no injuries on the Warriors side, so you can look at all the starters. It's Curry, Wiggins, Green, Thompson, Poole. Thompson's been pretty on or off. Probably wouldn't go there. Poole's minutes kind of fluctuate, so it's really Curry as a priority if you can afford him. I do like Draymond Green and Wiggins. Wiggins' price has come down a bit. He was crazy good at the beginning of the season, kind of came back down to earth, but it looks like he's trending up again. So maybe a good buy low spot on Wiggins. But yeah, keep it on the Houston lineup. Let me just check the Occupy model quick. I'm guessing we see some Houston value. Yeah, we got Eric Gordon here. No surprise. Jabari Smith, pretty inconsistent, but he's in play. Um, Terry Eason's had some good games. Don't mind him as a punt. Not crazy about Dashi and Dix. But yeah, Eric Gordon, Jalen Green, those are your priorities for Houston. And I'm not really seeing anyone pop for Golden State on DraftKings. Similar on FanDuel, Green, Gordon, those are your priorities. Jabari Smith's okay in tournaments, but not someone I'm rushing to. So decent game. Really, it's Green on the Houston side that's a priority. Okay, so moving into Denver, and once again, Denver is probably the most banged up team on the slate. We have Jokic and Murray both out. I know COVID's going around that locker room. Aaron Gordon questionable. So we could go back to Bruce Brown. We could go back to Bones Highland. And when you don't see Bones Highland in the starting lineup, don't be alarmed. He always comes off the bench. And this actually kind of works out in situations like this because if this game were to blow out, I think Malone's content leaving him in the fourth quarter. So yeah, definitely some Bones Highland here. I'm going to jump right back over to the Occupy model. But yeah, we're seeing Aaron Gordon pop pretty highly. Bones Highland's up there. DeAndre Jordan, if he starts, is fine. Never a player I'm excited to get to, but if we're lacking value at center, he's going to be someone we have to consider. But really, it's Aaron Gordon. And I mean, Michael Porter Jr. has been terrible, terrible. But if Aaron Gordon is out again, I do think we have to at least consider Michael Porter Jr. Um, but yeah, it's Bruce Brown for me. Porter's been terrible. So I don't know. In tournaments, I do think I take a few shots just because the usage should be there for him. But it's Bones, it's Brown. Really like Bruce Brown. KCP's been better than I've given him credit for, but still not great for his price, even with all these guys out. But yeah, anyone who starts for Denver and Bones Highland, I think even if Aaron Gordon's out, Bones probably doesn't make the starting lineup. If Zeke Naji somehow slips into the starting lineup, he's going to be excellent, excellent value. He's another one of these young kids, though, that Malone's hesitant to give extended minutes. So just don't go there necessarily unless he's starting. It's just too risky. Um, but yeah, whoever starts here, don't mind Jordan as a punt. Bruce Brown's probably my favorite Nugget. If Aaron Gordon's in, he'd probably take the crown as my favorite Denver Nugget play. But yeah, pretty good game. Here we got Luka Doncic on the Dallas side. He's the cover boy for this video, probably the best pay up on the slate. I don't think that's controversial. 12K, probably tough to get to, but it does seem like we're going to have enough value opening up. And we've seen him go over 60 fantasy points in his last 3 games played. So, yeah, if I'm jamming one stud on the slate, it's probably Luka Doncic if I can afford him. And I mean, you sort by the Occupy index here, and we're seeing Doncic pop 2 points better than Durant, 2 points better than any of the Lakers in the late game. Um, and that's Durant, I think, with Kyrie. It is with Kyrie in, but I don't know. We may have to adjust once we can figure out how many minutes Kyrie's going to play here. But regardless, everything I'm saying is just to get to the point that Luke is probably the best pay up on the slate. Reggie Bullock probable. Kleber's still out in the front court. So yeah, maybe you mix in a little THJ, Spencer Dinwiddie as GPP options. Neither are really priorities for me. It's mostly just Luka here, and yeah, like I said, Spence is fine. Christian Wood's minutes have been coming up. I do think we could take a look at him. Yeah, 30 minutes, 26 minutes. So at 7,100 on FanDuel, I definitely like him. And then we're looking at 7K flat on DK. So good option there. But yeah, it's really the Denver starters, Bones Heinlein and Luka Doncic from that game as priorities. Okay, so moving into the last game on the slate, we have the Lakers hosting the Spurs. And it's a pretty high total game. Total's pushing 230 points, where the Lakers are 7-point favorites. I don't think. Yeah, LeBron's listed as questionable. He's listed as questionable almost every day, though. If he's out, AD becomes one of the best plays on the slate. Regardless, I like AD as a pay up. He's been really solid lately, consistently hitting value. He's gone for 50 plus fantasy points in each of his last 3 games. We did see LeBron return last time out. He also had 50. So I think you could go to AD either way. LeBron a little bit riskier. I'm a bit surprised he's more expensive than AD on DK. I definitely like Davis more, but I'm expecting ownership to reflect that. So if you want to get a little bit more contrarian, maybe go with LeBron out of the two. It looks like I still have no, I have all teams selected. But yeah, so I like the pay ups there. Russ is fine. It's just his price keeps coming up. Not rushing to get to him around 8K. I think he's a little cheaper on FanDuel. Yeah, 7,600. So he's solid there. Then we got Jakob Podol. He's always good. I like him here. Keldon Johnson, solid. Trey Jones, solid. Devin Vassell got scratched last time. Popovich has kind of been a pain in the A the last few games. So just keep an eye on that starting lineup. The issue here is this game does lock 2 hours later than the others. So maybe just leave yourself some room to pivot. If you have, say, LeBron in your lineup, maybe make sure you have the salary to get to an AD, like a 2-for-2 swap or something like that. Or if you do find yourself leaning on Vassell, maybe just make sure you have a plan B set up so you can get to Russ or something in a neutral guard spot on DK. But yeah, really not my favorite game, but I do think I want some pieces here just because it's kind of the late night hammer. I really like Davis if I can get to him. Don't mind Russ on FanDuel. LeBron's fine on both sides, not really a priority. Lonnie Walker, scoring dependent. But yeah, he's been solid, so I don't mind him. They've gotten Dennis Schroeder and Thomas Bryant back, so maybe the Lakers do start to look better. But yeah, Schroeder, 14 minutes, 4 fantasy points, not someone we're looking to yet. And if Thomas Bryant's minutes keep climbing and he's going to be the starting center, I know AD doesn't want to play center, and then I do like Thomas Bryant. Jeremy Sochan, he's just one of my favorite young players. I do think he's okay as a punt, but if Keldon and Vassell are both in, it definitely hurts Sochan's upside. Trey Jones, fine point guard play, not really someone we're prioritizing. So one quick look at ownership as it stands. We're seeing Tyus Jones towards the top of the board, Jaden Ivey, Jared Allen from Cleveland. Just too cheap on DK. These are DK ownerships I'm reading through. Bojan, who we talked about, Eric Gordon is value, and then a lot of this Denver value. Over on FanDuel, similar story. Bruce Brown, Dillis Brooks, Tyus Jones. If Bam is in, he's going to be a good play. If he's out, we're going to have to go back to that Heat value. But overall, yeah, really solid slate tonight, guys. Remember, it locks at 6 p.m. Eastern. If you haven't already signed up on Occupy Fantasy, please join our Discord server for the pre-lock Q&A. You also get access to our ownership, our models, our lineup builders, all these great tools you see here in this video. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Again, it helps us get more of this free content out to you. My name is Nick Marro. You can find me on Twitter at Nick Marro DFS. Let's have some fun tonight and make some money. Good luck, everyone.